Welcome to BARI Banter, where we talk everything bariatric surgery with the people that know it best, the patients. I'm Shannon, and I'm here with my co-hostess with the mostest,
Lita. So sit back, relax, and remember, sip, sip, sip.
Welcome to another episode of BARI Banter. This time we're on the road. We've hit the road, Jack.
We're live
We are.
in the Gold Coast.
And our guest is already sitting here, but we're just going to have a quick chat while he's just sitting in the corner over here.
For a second.
We're excited to chat to him. We spent all last night, we might have had a few too many beverages, and I spent the whole night trying not to ask him too many questions so I could learn more about him today. And yeah, last night was a lot of fun. I always find it interesting how you always get yourself in the best situations. So like last night, I was just walking down the path, we're just having a chat. All of a sudden, Alita zooms past on the back of someone's scooter. How did you even do that?
I just asked. I literally walked up to them and said, "Can I get on?" And he said yes, and off I went.
See, like where mine, I talk to strangers, but they made me chase seagulls down the beach. Apparently, I'm back to running again because I woke up today and I was like, said to Brett, I'm like, apparently my calf's good. I was sprinting down the beach chasing seagulls.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
It was a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Got to try and back it up again tonight, which,
No, I'm too old for that.
this little body is getting a bit too old for that.
Well, we might as well bring our guest into the conversation rather than just pretending like he's not here. Also, usually we didn't have Skype today, so I didn't have that technical side of things, but I still, if anyone is watching the video, the mic is attached to a chair. Brett's holding one.
On it.
He's sitting on his. I may have forgotten a few things, but we're going to make it work because this guest we really want to chat to because I think everyone will be really interested to learn his story because I have a feeling it's going to be very interesting. Personally, I feel like it's going to be interesting.
Well, anyway, I guess I can introduce you. So this is Brett, everybody. He was sleeved back in December of 2019. Heaviest recorded weight was 176.3, and he's now lost and managed to maintain 83 kilos. Lover of all things Disney, currently living in a bit of a Disney bubble. Studying to be a personal trainer and the creator of the 12-minute workout. Welcome, Brett Edwards, also known as VSGandBrett.e on Instagram.
Howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome, Brett.
You're just so cool, calm and collected.
He is,
I
very
can't
chill.
deal.
Very chill. So tell me, Brett.
Yes.
What made you... What was the thing that made you want to have weight loss surgery?
Well, I had many issues with my body, as in my knees, hips, everything like that. And one of the doctors says you need knee replacements. And I was only 34, 35 at the time. And I was like, yeah, I might just try and lose some weight first. And he suggested I get the surgery, but I was like, no, I'll do it myself because I've lost weight in the past by myself, like we all have. But I put it back on real quick.
Yeah.
2 years to take it off, 6 months to put it back on.
Yeah.
Plus extra weight. But there's also other factors as well, like I needed to lose weight obviously for my body, but one time I was just trying to play with my nephew in the backyard and I couldn't walk properly, I couldn't move properly, and I just looked at him and I asked him, hey buddy, would you like it if I got skinnier and fitter and we could play more? And he just looked at me and said, I would love for you to do that. Aww. So I went and said, all right, that's the decision made.
Yeah.
Wow.
Make it happen.
Very powerful. And you are that person now. You're able to do all that stuff with your niece and nephew. We see that on your stories. You're like, guys, you need to work on your fitness because Uncle needs you guys to
They come to my house and like, can we go to the gym, please?
Yeah.
I love coming into the gym.
Wow, that's so cool.
So who was Brett prior? Like, if you could sit there and talk about who you were prior to having surgery, how would you describe yourself?
Were you this happy, positive person beforehand?
To my close friends, probably.
Yep.
I was, but not in the open.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the same person, but now I smile a lot more. I put myself out there a lot more.
Yep.
Previous to that, I probably would have just tried to blend in the background. I had a lot of anxiety issues, so we used to go out and then all of a sudden I would disappear. Like, they'd be like, where'd you go? And I'd say, I just had to get out.
Houdini.
Yeah, you think people are looking at you and staring at you and you're like, I just got to get out of here.
So
it's just uncomfortable.
They would have perceived you as being happy.
Yeah.
We, like a lot of us, we sometimes emphasize on our happiness when we're bigger to kind of hide, I guess, the true emotion. Did you do that, do you feel? Do you feel like you maybe showed others a version that wasn't the true reflection of who you were?
Oh, 100%. You have days where you just like, are you okay, Brett? Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, everything's great. We're having a great day. And then close the door and I'm like, I hate this.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Like I can't move, I can't walk, I can't buy clothes, and if I buy clothes, they look like curtains, and it's just fun. So
Yeah. We had that chat last night, actually, and it's you kind of said you were so ready for this surgery. Like,
100%.
we'll stand on the veranda out here and we're talking about it, and it's like, you need to be, I always say to people, like, you need to be ready.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't just a diet. This isn't just, you know, a get healthy quick scheme. You know, it is literally, you've got to be ready mentally to take this step, and that's what we talked about. You were like, I'm ready, everything's set up.
Yeah.
Like, you felt like it was, you've become the person on the exterior that you've always wanted to be.
Yeah. What I felt internally, I changed externally, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like, I changed all this, and then it started coming out more, oh, this is a positive, happy-go-lucky. I was always kind of like that. Like, I'd always try and boost people up, lift them up wherever I went. And, you know, when you're a bigger person, they're like, what does this, you know, you're perceived a little bit different. And now they're like, yep, this guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's doing that for me. And that's what it was all about. It's just, I was so ready because I always talk about, I've always hit my rock bottom. I hit it. And when I hit it, I was like, I started smiling. I was like, hey, I've hit it. So that's all it's got.
What did your rock bottom look like?
Yeah.
Like, what is...
Well, I done my knee again. So I had to have more knee surgeries. I showed you an x-ray yesterday.
Yeah,
of my knee.
there's nothing. Non-existent.
There's non-existent cartilage or anything in my knees.
Like, worse than yours.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy.
it's bad. And I done it again, and I actually lost weight for Jenny Craig. So I lost 55 kilos, and I actually was going to be their next spokesperson.
Wow.
Like, I did a commercial for them. I did all that stuff for them. And I was going to be the next spokesperson before Mel B, whatever her name is.
Yep.
From Spice Girls.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you're going to be Mel B.
I was going to be that person.
But better looking.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Clearly. And yeah, and then I was doing, if you ever heard Tough Mudder?
Yep.
I did Tough Mudder. And I was about 13 Ks in, and I fell off a rafter, and my knee, gone. But I got up and ran the next 7 Ks. And I was like, the next day I was like, something is not right there. And it was huge, my knee was bad, and I was like, it's all right, we'll fix it. Was still doing Jenny Craig and that, and I was like, oh, you still got about 8-9 kilos to go before we can start moving forward, and it was just gone. And I just couldn't. And training for me is a big part of my life.
Yeah.
Like, even back then, even when I was bigger, I trained 5 days a week anyway.
Yeah.
But then I couldn't train because I had to, and I wouldn't let myself recover. I tried to train straight away, which made it worse, and just went downhill from there.
We actually talked about that last night because, like, I talked about, you know, when I run, it's like my therapy. Like, I put a podcast in, I go for a run, and it's my time. It's my mental clarity. And it's really hard for people to, I guess, understand that. But it sounds like when I talked to you last night about it, you're very similar with the gym.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Stressful job. My old job used to be a bit stressful, and you know, you're on the phone all the time. You just demand KPIs. You got to hit all the time, and then all of a sudden, I go to the gym, put my headphones in. I don't see anybody. I don't talk to anybody. All I do is train and do what I need to do for myself. I've actually had people like try to, excuse me, and I'm so focused, I don't even hear them or see them. Like, they're trying to get my attention. I wouldn't even know they're there.
Wow.
Wow, so you literally go into your little zone when you're in the gym. You could be there alone and you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people don't like to even come and try to train with me because
You're so
I'm just
in
they're
your own
just
head,
like
focused.
trying to chat. They're trying to have a chat and lift weights, and I'm like, more, go. I'm not here to chat. Let's lift these weights.
We just had 2 people walk into the room, by the way. Alita and Zash just walked in and trying to be super quiet, and I was like, I could hear it in the thing. And, hi guys.
Hi guys.
Hey, they're off to the pool.
They're off down to the pool.
We're just midday sitting in here doing a podcast, talking to Brett, and you know these guys are off gallivanting around. Why Alita walked in actually, because there was a point we're going to bring up. You know, obviously you guys have just recently come out and said, you know, you're in a relationship, and you know, has it been a while for you since you've been in a relationship, or
Yeah.
And how do you feel about like taking that step? Is it something you've wanted for a while, or?
Yeah, you know, it's petrifying for me to do something like that. Like, 'cause, I'm very different to Alita, very, very different. I'm a very laid back,
Very chill.
I live in my own little world, as you witnessed yesterday.
Yeah.
And and I just normally, if I had like feelings for someone, I'll just let it slide and wouldn't worry about it. And I did that for many years. But I felt this time, you know, I'm going to just step out of the comfort zone because I keep telling people to step out of the comfort zone. I may as well do it myself.
Do it yourself. Practice what you preach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what held you back in the past? Was it the fear of like
just rejection.
Yeah.
being overweight for so long, you just didn't feel like I never liked myself enough to understand to know if someone would actually like me.
Yeah.
When was your last relationship?
I wouldn't even call it a relationship. I just dated someone for about 8 weeks. Probably it was 2019.
Yeah, okay.
Before that was like 2012.
Yeah, okay.
2011.
Yeah.
See, it
It's
sounds
never
like
been long term.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's when you're saying that, I now find it hard to get past that mental side of being in a relationship purely because the fear of, I guess, being married and her making the decision to leave, it took the control away from me.
Yeah.
Which now makes me kind of go, I don't really want to take that leap again because it's putting a lot of trust in someone else, especially when you give your all to that person.
Yeah.
They literally hold your heart in their hand and can just go, you know what I mean? Like it was that kind of like that led you a lot in like not wanting to take that leap because it was like you wanted to be in control of that aspect of your life, and by taking the leap and being like, I'm yours, that situation, you felt like the control was taken away from you a bit.
Yeah. Like I was telling you earlier today, I built a lot of walls around myself. I wouldn't let anyone in. Even when they tried to get in, I would say, sorry, I don't want to be hurt by anybody.
Yeah.
I've hurt myself enough. I don't want anyone else to hurt.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone could fix me but me. So I had to learn over the last 2 years or so, even before that, like prior to that, just learning to accept myself and then take down one brick at a time. And eventually the wall comes down, but it's still up there. I still have trouble because you see me in the morning, say, hey, how you going? But I'm a very reserved guy. I just sit in the back.
You are.
I just sit in the corner. I'm an observer. I listen more than I talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to learn. I'm still learning to let my guard down, which I'm used to just having it up all the time.
Yeah.
Like a boxer, protecting myself.
What do you think created that? Like in the past, have you been hurt much or like?
Yeah, well, my father left when I was born, so that's one thing. Dating life in the past, like just late last year, I got stood up 3 times in like less than 2 months. Like they just didn't turn up. And it's like, well, that's obviously something me then. Like it's all, I take it as it's me. But
it's hard not to take it that way though. Like I think I'd feel the same. 100%. Yeah.
But it's not. It's usually a case of like, they stood you up because maybe they were fearful of going because they didn't want to get rejected. Like we're all in our own heads, and it's like as much as you want to be like, it was me. More than likely it was them. They just weren't feeling comfortable within themselves to take that leap, or because like look, now you have so much to offer. Like you, and I think that's one of the questions I obviously want to talk about was your relationships and stuff like that. Because for me, I'm like, I look at you, I'm like, how are you single? Like like I look at you now, like it's like you're the kindest, nicest fella, good looking, like handsome as and to see you not like no one wanting to take advantage of that. It's obviously you're in control of that and you're pushing people away because you would get offers. Like there's no doubt in my mind, like being the person you are, you would get people being like, oh, I want that, So it's clearly you're the one that maybe is a bit more guarded and you've got the walls up like you were saying before. And that's why it hasn't happened. Because,
but it's also quite good to know that you haven't just like lost the weight and just jumped into a relationship with the first person that's come along because it kind of self-worth, that's what it says to me. It means that you've been working on yourself for the last 2 years and getting yourself to a point that you now like yourself, love yourself. So now you've got enough to give to somebody else and you're just, not going to just give it to the first person that walks in the room. Like,
What do you put down as like since weight loss surgery your biggest accomplishment? Countless.
There's so many little things that have come along the way.
Yeah.
Like the first time I walked for an hour non-stop. The first time when I lost my first 50 kilos, instead of celebrating, I said I'm going to do 50 push-ups non-stop.
Wow, that's cool.
Everything I do is a challenge. I don't do reward system. I go, okay, like I was saying yesterday, I climb a mountain.
You don't set goals, yeah.
I turn around and go, oh, there's a bigger mountain. Let's climb that one.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another one. Let's climb that one.
Yep.
I've learned to, because in the past I'll dwell on something and go, do I want to do that? And I'll think about it for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 2 days, 1 week. Now I'm like, sign me up. I just say yes.
You don't give yourself the chance to
say yes.
Yeah.
Like I signed up for a 35K walk.
The bloody long walk.
That one.
Yep.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm going to go
because that was like
it's a bloody long walk. I can tell you that much.
We had a conversation about that last night, and we'll talk about. So I'm a goal setter. Like I said, goals. Things I want to accomplish. Blah blah. Blah. And like you were saying last night that you're not a goal setter. You're someone who, like you just said before, you'll climb a mountain, and then you'll turn around and be like, oh, a bigger mountain, I'll climb that. Because and I think that was the one thing you said last night that really kind of went, oh, it makes a lot of sense because I understood it, and it was talking about like goal weights because setting a goal weight, it doesn't account for a lot of things. And that was one thing you were saying, like you got told, oh, you hit 80 kilos. You're like, no, you almost didn't want to hit the 80 kilos because you were like, you're very, do a lot of weights and you're like that, I want to get more muscular and, and getting to 80 kilos means I would lose a lot of that. So, you haven't set any goals like from the start that you've wanted to accomplish throughout, or has it all been more non-cosmetic goals for you?
Non-cosmetic. I just wanted to be able to move better, be more physically active, as in like go take my nephews to the park, play with my nieces and do all that kind of stuff. I love travelling, so fitting in a plane is like fantastic because that death look when you're walking down the aisle when you're big and everyone's looking at you going, please do not sit next to me. Yeah. And now I walk down the plane like, come and sit over here.
Like you travel quite a lot too, and like it's no secret that you love Disney, and you've been to Disneyland 6 times.
Like Disney? I wouldn't. No.
How did you go to Disneyland when you were bigger?
Always when I was bigger. The only time I've been was last year in Paris.
And how'd you go fitting on the rides and all of that sort of thing?
I did the walk of shame because I couldn't fit on the ride a few times.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
So and how did that? That must be nice to be able to go to Disneyland now and not have that concern of.
Yeah. I was in Movie World the other day. Yeah. Most of the rides were shut, but I did get on 2 rides.
And one of them shut down on you when you were on the ride.
I was on it and it shut down. I'm in the middle of this thing going, okay, that's fun.
But you know what? You had to walk down the stairs of the ride. Like you at 170 kilos would have been dreading that and hating the fact that...
I had to abseil down.
You would get me a crane.
Bring in the
crane. Wow, like completely just transformed really, hey? Like the way... And your excitement, are you more excited now to go to Disneyland, A, because it's Disneyland, but B, because you'll be able to fit on all of the rides again now and you won't have to do the walk of shame?
And I can walk around longer. I'm more excited to, like, I used to say, I don't like hiking in nature. That was because I just couldn't
do it,
Now I'm like, I'm going for a hike. Anyone want to come? Let's go.
One thing that blew my mind, because we were listening to your other podcast the other day, you were on Bariatric Bros, and you were saying when you used to do your grocery shopping, you'd walk to the end of the aisle, check out, go sit in your car for a little while, rest, go back in, walk the next aisle. Like, that just blows my mind. That's
how bad my legs were.
So, wow,
okay. Back and everything, I just couldn't move.
Wow.
So it was the case of your knees, like you had to rest your knees and...
Knees, hips, back, just my body was just...
And losing the weight, has that made a big difference? Like, you obviously still got bad knees, but like, it's manageable now?
Yeah, it's manageable now. It was manageable before, but the end of the day was no good. I was like, I can't move anymore. But now I'm like, okay, I'll work a 10-hour day and then train for 2 hours and go for another walk. And it's like, it just doesn't stop. And I'm so proud of that I can do that.
Yeah.
And I sometimes don't want to post things and talk about things because people are just like, oh, you're showing off now, you're doing that. I'm like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
I couldn't do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow.
But I think that's one thing that I like to discuss and talk about, like regardless of where we are now, like you're at the gym all the time, you're doing amazingly, but here's somebody like literally you couldn't even walk down 2 aisles of the shopping centre without having to stop and being in pain and that sort of thing. So like it's just so like we try not to compare ourselves to people on Instagram and like everybody can see how much of a success you are now. But it's just so hard for people not to see like what you were originally. Like I think we've got to everybody's got to remember that we all started somewhere. Like it's,
and I think that's what kind of what Brett's saying, he doesn't. And I think a lot of us, we share stuff not because we want to gloat. We want to, to a degree, it's like we want to put it out there and be like, look what I can do now, more because we're proud of ourselves. And do you feel like that's the case for you? You literally post it and you do this stuff because you actually are proud of yourself now? Like
100%.
Yeah.
And also, sometimes it can help people.
Yeah.
Like, I get asked a lot, like, how do I do this? I can't do a push-up. How do I learn to do a push-up? And I just break things down for them and just go, this is how I learned, this is how we work. And it's just, everything I post is all about I'm just proud of myself.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And when I do my morning talks and like 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. in the morning and I'm like, and I'm all happy and everyone's like, how are you so happy in the morning? That's a pep talk to me.
Yeah.
I am giving myself a let's go kind of attitude.
Yeah, we actually had that conversation last night because it was something, you said a lot of stuff, like even like one night spending with you, I was like, I knew there was, you know, that you definitely got the same thing as me. And it's like when you were talking about you share stuff, you know, to kind of reinforce to yourself certain things. And I was like, you just hit the nail on the head, because sometimes I do a post and I write it to remind myself. As much as people are like, oh, that relates to me. I'm like, usually it's like I'm saying it because it's something that's going through my process in my head. And I put it into writing to kind of reinforce it to myself. And that's kind of what you were saying last night. It's, you know, you sometimes, you know, at the end of the day, if you wake up and you, what was that thing the other day? It was like someone shared it. It was like, you wake up and you go, ha, 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 ha. You can't help but like smile when you do a certain thing. It's the same thing if you wake up in the morning. I know it's random and my neighbors think I'm weird, but like if you wake up and you make a noise and you push that happiness onto yourself, everyone. But like if you make an effort, like, you know, like we talk about all the time, in a day there's always going to be good and bad. If you make an effort to look for the good and reinforce the good, of course that energy is going to stick, you know what I mean? Like if you went into a day and you took that 1% of the day that's bad and you focus purely on that bad part of the day, you're going to turn around and be like, my day was crappy, you know, today, because you focused on the negative, where there was a glimmer of positive, but you chose not to see that.
Well, that's what everybody said. I had a crappy day today. I was like, no, you had a crappy 5 minutes, but you're saying that the whole day was crap.
So where do you hope to go from here, where you are now? Like what is the, like, not, I guess not goal, but like, what is your focus on, and where do you want to head with your life from here?
Right now, I am studying to be a personal trainer. I'm getting in my Cert 3 and 4. I've built a gym at my house. I did the 12-minute workouts. I do on the line. I did them through COVID, because being in Melbourne, we were
locked down.
We were stuck.
Like and you are again. You escaped. You are in lockdown again. I escaped
the week before, so that's all right. So yeah, my aim is I want to help as many people as I can who have sort of given up on moving their bodies, because I think moving your body is so important to this journey that you're on. It's not just about, hey, I got my stomach cut out, I'm all good. Because there's choices you make. We were saying last night, there's 3 choices. There's I'm going to be an athlete runner, like you two. I'm going to lift weights and get bigger. And there's people who just do nothing and lose all their strength. And strength is very important, I think, for movement and for your future. You need it. You can't just be 50 years old and I can't move the blankets up because I'm so weak. And it's so important to have that. It gives you longevity, and I want to teach people that. I want to train people who have the surgery. Like going to the gym, I understand as a big person is daunting. For me, it wasn't. I didn't mind going, but some people, they just be daunted, and I want to train them, teach them how to just be confident enough to go in and just do it. You know, like, and that's what I'm all about. I'm all about teaching people.
But even saying that, like, you know, we talked about it last night, and like the 12-minute workout was perfect, because it was like, everyone always talks about being time constraints, and you know, not wanting to go to the gym for the fear of judgment and blah blah blah. And we had a conversation last night about it, and you were saying, you know, we all have time if we want to have time. Like, you know, if you are sitting on the couch watching TV, and you used that as an example last night, what's stopping you from just standing and doing a few squats as you watch TV? You know, at the end of the day, standing and doing a few squats, it's better than sitting and not doing any squats. You know. And I think every time I talk to an older person who's quite healthy and fit, and, you know, like, because I care now about my body, and I've finally got to a point where I actually want to, you know, I want to live and feel good in my body now. So every time I see an older person who is doing really well for their age, the thing that I always say, you know, what's the secret? Like, how are you so fit and active and healthy and blah, blah? It always comes back to, like, they may drink, they may smoke, but they're always like, I've just constantly stayed active. You know, they've moved. And I think our bodies require that. And I know lately with the whole sitting out and having the injury and not being able to move and run, and how much that impacts my mental side, and it really made me sit back and go, wow, okay, I understand now, back in the day, why I was so depressed, because I never moved. I never went out, and I never moved my body and got those endorphins kicking and you know, do you feel like now that plays a big part in, because you're a very positive person, like I feel like, I'm sure you have your down days, but like you are 70% more positive, like 70% positive, 30% you probably just, you know, have your time, but like do you feel like because you are active and you feel more proud of yourself, that is reflecting now of why you're so positive?
100%. If I don't train or don't move my body, I feel terrible. I hate rest days. I hate them.
Yeah.
But I know they're necessary.
Yeah.
Especially with the weights that I lift.
Yeah.
They are necessary for me to continue.
Yeah.
So when you're running, you need to rest your body. And when I do that, I'm so ready for the next, I'm writing my next program to go. Like,
yeah.
So for me, yes, it is like, it changes my whole mindset. Just being physical, moving your body. We are engineered to move. Like,
We are.
Yeah.
We're engineered to move. So being stationary is worse than smoking. You know.
What was the new word you learned the other day? Sedentary? Being sedentary?
Sedentary, yeah. And that's like sitting still.
Not moving. But I think it's also important that people know too, like, when we're talking about getting up and moving, you don't need to be going and lifting 150 kilos. You don't need to be running 5Ks super quickly. Like, there's a lady at Parkrun who I have the biggest respect for. Every single week she's there without fail and she just walks it. She dogs parts of it. She walks part of it. Like, her time's around maybe the 45 minute mark and she's there with a smile every single week without fail. And it's just that sort of, like, you know, and she says it, I'm not here to get any quicker. I'm just here to move. Like, and I think that's such an important thing. People get in their ideas in their head like, oh, if I'm going to be a runner, I need to do it quicker, or I need to go further, or I need to go, you know what I mean? But no, you just need to be a runner, you need to simply run. Like, that's it. It doesn't matter. 100%. It doesn't matter if you're fast, slow. Like, if you put on a pair of joggers, even if you don't, if you just get out the door and run, you're a runner. So you've got to people put so much pressure on themselves to be at the top, at the start.
Yeah.
We all start somewhere. Like,
yeah.
And you got to be okay with where you end up as well. Like, I could push myself even harder and even further, but I'm like, I don't need to. Like, I want to get there, but I've also got to make sure that, you know, I'm listening to my body, and I don't need to be a sub 20 runner. I don't need to be. I might want to be, but I don't need to be there. And we put so much pressure on ourselves to be there, and then that in the end makes us almost quit because we can't get there.
We had that conversation last night, and breaking things down is a big thing that Brett talks about. And, like, you know, if you looked at the top of a tower and you said, that's a really high way, I can't get there, it seems daunting. Yeah. But if you took it one flight of stairs at a time, before you know it, you'd get to the top. And that's something you always talk about all the time, you know, when you get someone who says, I can't do push-ups, or I can't do 10 push-ups, you know, but can you do 2?
Yeah.
Can you do 2 5 times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the end, you still hit your target.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
You hit your target. It might take a bit longer, and that's what people are so impatient now. And it's just, you need to take your time, understand it's going to take time, and just work on it. It's not a competition. I'm not going to go, oh, I'm going to run 50 Ks because Shan did it, and he could do it, I could do it. Like, I should be able to beat that. No, I don't think so, because I don't run.
Look, I don't mean to sound rude, but I do not want to step foot in a gym and try and do what you do, because I know that I will fail miserably.
I don't blame you, because and that's where people go, I don't want to train with you because you do. I said, I'm not going to train like that with you. I'm not going to make you do what I do.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I used to say everybody loves going to F45, and I used to always go to F45 when I was 100 and something kilos, and I used to walk in there and dread seeing the chin-up bar set up, because even with the assisted bands, I could not do it. And there was one trainer there who, she knew that I was extremely anxious about it every single time, because I was lucky to even get one push-up, even with the 3 resistant bands trying to help, not push-up, what they call it, chin-up. And she actually, at the end of the class, she came up to me and she said, just stay around for a little while. And I was like, okay, what have I done? I feel like I'm getting in trouble. But she took the time to teach me how to just not be anxious about it. And she was like, I was like, everybody else can do them. She goes, it doesn't matter what everybody else can do. At the end of the day, you are feeling anxious about this activity, so let's break it down. And that's exactly what she did. So she was like, stand on the box, pull yourself up, so like essentially jump up, and then the first motion that you've got to do is lower yourself slowly. And nobody thinks about lowering when you're doing a chin up. Everybody thinks about the pulling motion and getting up. And she was like, no, we're going to start with you simply lowering yourself down. And that's exactly what she did. She broke down the movement for me.
Yeah.
And I still sucked at doing them, but it still taught me I was breaking down the movement. And by the end of the 8 weeks or whatever it was, I could do one chin up. And that was I was no longer terrified of it. I still didn't particularly like it, but I stopped being terrified of it. So it all comes down to just breaking things down.
And it's also, you said a thing then, it was I think comparison is the biggest killer of progress.
Oh, yeah.
If you were to look at Brett and be like, but he does that, I will never get to that. You've failed before you even start. You've written yourself off. And I think that's the thing, Brett didn't start where you are now. It's been a gradual progression to get where you are now. And I think that's something you do really well is you are able to, explain to people, breaking it down. Start somewhere, eventually you'll get where you want to go. Because I think sometimes people can compare and they'll challenge someone that's not even challenging them, but they will challenge them in their own head and then fail before they even start. And I think it's really important, you can... If you're not inspiring, you can compare to others if you want to aspire to be like that and it's giving you motivation to get there. But if you find yourself in a situation where you're comparing yourself to someone and it's actually bringing you down, I think, especially with Instagram and social media and stuff like that, I think you definitely need to be aware of if something's harming or hindering you. Because it's definitely something that we talked about last night and I feel like a lot of people do, and it's at your own jeopardy kind of thing.
But I find as well, though, I do it all the time, and people say it to us pretty much almost every podcast. Oh, I'm not a runner like you guys. But there it is straight away that you're comparing yourself to them straight away, and I do it all the time whenever I meet people, especially when we're at events or whatever at trail running, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm just doing the 10 kilometers. Everybody else is doing the 21, so I'm just doing the 10 kilometers, or I can't run as fast as you guys."
You're doing 10 kilometers?
Yeah.
100%.
That's awesome.
But and I don't even mean to do it, but you're automatically, I'm going, I'm only doing the 10K. Everybody else is doing the 21, so I'm not as, good as them. It's this thing that I automatically do it, and people already, it's so programmed into us that people just go, oh, they're doing more, they're faster than me, so therefore they're better than me.
Do you think we do that because we want someone to reassure us? No, that's still good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's I was talking to your dietitian yesterday about it, and she has people come in and they look for validation. They look for she gets asked, are you proud of me? And I think we feel we want to be validated in one way or another. But it's also I think that's something I've come to realize is if you're going to do a 10K and you're not validating your achievements, you will look for it somewhere else. I think it's a very key point to kind of learn about yourself, is being able to validate yourself. Because we all, as a human, it's an instinct to want to be, appreciated and I guess seen. So I think being able to validate yourself and, acknowledge the achievements is a key part to progress and motivation and wanting to keep going forward. For you, throughout this process, Brett, what would you look back and be like, has been a big learning experience for you?
Accepting compliments.
Accepting compliments, yeah.
Stop being so humble.
It's true though. I didn't grow up in a very affectionate family or anything like that. So getting a compliment in our family, or just showing any kind of something, was like, "Did you eat today? You got petrol in your car?" That's our affection. And when someone says, "Oh," that's why when everyone says, "Oh, you look amazing," I always write, "I feel better."
I do the same thing.
Because I don't care. I care a little bit what I look like, but it's not who I am. I'd rather you like me because I made you smile. Or
You said that last night, actually, because I feel like that's the first time I've gotten to say this tonight. You guys have been saying, we were chatting about this one. I'm sitting there going, where was I? How long was I on the back of this bloody scooter for? Because, I don't know, I barely felt like I spoke to you last night. But one thing that you did say is, at the end of the day, you go, out for dinner with somebody and you are authentically yourself. And if you can leave the room knowing that you've made somebody else smile, then your job is done, so to speak. And that's just you as a person. You're just.
I always tell people, they say, "What's your job?" My job is to make you smile and be happy. That's my job.
What would you say your love language is?
What?
Love language. Do you know what love language is? So there's words of affirmation, acts of service, gifts. What's the other
Physical
two?
touch.
Physical touch. So like it's usually how you show love.
Oh.
Like so how do you usually show love to others?
I talk to them. I
So
send messages, but gifts as well. Like they won't even know that I've done something for them, and 2 weeks later it's like, when did that happen? Like, oh, I did that 2 weeks ago.
Is that acts of service? I feel like you're a little bit of everything. You're just a giver.
You are like,
Yeah.
and like we talked about earlier, the Disney effect. Like if you hang out with Brett, and I've hung out with him 24 hours, and things just seem to happen. Like last night at 2:30 in the morning, we're walking down the street. This mystery man walked down the street with a big bag of gifts, gave it to Brett, and I was like, what just happened?
Well,
and he's like,
let's just put that into
Disney
context,
effect.
though. Like, it was one of Brett's friends. We didn't just have a random man walk up to us in the middle of the street and give us presents, like Santa.
Santa, you're chilling, mate. Like, yeah, but it is. It's like, and I
you
think,
attract what you put out, though, and I think
that's it.
Brett is the biggest.
And Brett has always been this person, and we talked about this on the beach earlier. I was like saying, it's great to see because you are someone who puts a lot of positive out into the world, and it's good to see. And hanging out with you for 24 hours, I'm sure you have bad days, but like the last 24 hours, I just feel like you put a lot out with no expectation of receiving something, but it just genuinely happens. You know, you have genuine friends. You have people who care about you because you care about them.
Yeah.
And that's what we said earlier. It's like if someone needs you, you'll be there, and you know, and it's great. And that's what I said earlier.
Yeah.
It's great to actually see because like I feel like I'm constantly saying I want to put out into the world what I want to receive back. Yeah. And sometimes it, like, especially when you go through hard patches, it feels like, oh, you know, why does this happen to me? Like, I genuinely try really hard to put a lot out into the world, hoping that, you know, the world, you know, or the surroundings reward me for that. But I think that's key to what the difference, and I think I've realised that over the last 24 hours, is I shouldn't expect it to come back. And you never expect your kind acts to come back to you.
If something happens, I really want this to happen. It didn't happen. Oh, what can I do? Hakuna Matata. Move on. Let's go.
And that was something that you were such a Disney person. I
He is. A whole new world.
I sang that at karaoke the other night.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Now I've just completely forgotten what I was going to say because you guys just started
The Disney
singing. No.
You going to Disneyland?
No, I wasn't going to Disneyland.
Must have been a lie.
Yeah,
She forgot what it was about. So, for anyone listening to the podcast who is either pre-surgery, early stages of surgery, what would be your best advice for them?
Yes, have goals, but don't compare your goals to other people. Don't go, look what they did, I'm going to do exactly that, because no, it doesn't work like that. Because you don't know how much work they've put in behind the scenes. Instagram or whatever platform you're on shows 40 seconds of your day. 30 seconds. Like I show my workouts, but they don't see the hour-long warm-up I've got to do to get to that. They don't see the half an hour of stretching and warming up because I've got bad elbow and shoulders, that I've got massage guns, I've got heat pads, I've got all this stuff going on. You just see the end result.
Yep.
So don't ever go, that's exactly what I'm going to do, because it's not. Nothing is exact. You don't get a book when you get the surgery. Just follow this book and here you go. It's like
Maybe we should write one.
Bariatric for dummies. What is it?
Yeah, bariatric for dummies.
Yeah.
Don't eat sausages. That's it. I was doing my my nutrition part of my PT course. It was every line, don't eat sausages. Sausages are bad. Like, all they kept saying was that. I was like, how many times are they going to mention don't eat sausages? Really? Relax.
Yeah.
They're delicious.
Yeah, chill out, mate. You're good.
What am I meant to do when I go to Bunnings?
Yeah.
Like, it's just what you do.
What's Bunnings?
Oh my God, stop
We had that conversation. It's sacrilege. We're not going to bring that up on this podcast. Apparently, he's been to Disneyland more than he's been to Bunnings.
It's equal now.
We need to go to Disneyland.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, you got to.
I was meant to go.
I know. I was going to say, is that what's next for you? Well, obviously, when COVID's all over and stuff, are you planning on heading back over to the States and going back over to Disneyland?
Yeah, I was meant to. I used to work at summer camps.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And I was meant to go back last year and do, work there for 3 weeks. Just on the camp. I worked on the lake, so my job was mainly fishing instructor. I took kids fishing. We went jet skiing. We went
hard life.
Sailing. Oh, it was tough as waking up every day on a lake in the middle of the national forest.
Sounds
Bears,
terrible.
deers, bald eagles flying around. Hard, tough.
Wow.
That's real tough, yeah.
But that's my life.
It will be once COVID's over. You can get back over there.
100%. And that's just travel more.
Yeah.
But also want to travel more in Australia. I want to meet more people. I want to my PT thing is something I want to do, but I also want to do. I hate saying the word life coach. I hate it.
Yeah.
But I just want to talk to people and change their attitude. We talked about this get to versus got to attitude.
Yeah.
To change everything, because a lot of people say, "Oh man, I got to do this and I got to do that." No, you get to do this.
Yeah.
You get to do that.
Yeah.
You got to understand that some people don't have it, and especially after lockdown, what we had in lockdown, we get to go to a cafe now.
Yeah.
We get to do this. It's not, oh, I got to. One of my biggest things when I talk to like teenagers and stuff like that, I got to do my homework. No, you don't understand. You get to do your homework. There's kids that would love to be able to do homework right now. But guess what they're doing? Digging up diamonds somewhere or doing this somewhere.
Yeah.
You don't understand.
It's all about attitude and perspective.
And perspective,
really, isn't it?
like, and that's like people always say, what's your secret to being positive? And it's more like I acknowledged this the other day. I went through a bit of a bad day, and my whole process was it could be worse.
Yeah.
I think you've hit rock bottom. I've hit rock bottom, and I use that, and I'm sure you do, as a point of reference.
Yeah.
Your worst day is always going to be better than that.
There's no such thing as bad days.
Yeah.
Character building.
Yeah.
And
Character building days.
That's what I was going to say before when I forgot what I was going to say. I've remembered again now. There was one thing that you said that during COVID you were thinking, like, it's out of your control. There's nothing that you can do, so you just got to move on. And I think that so many people sweat the stuff that's out of our control, and they stew on it, and they're like, I can't do this because this is... Well, yeah, you can't do that because this is the situation. But what can you do instead? And it's all about changing your mindset, really.
And you get out, and like before, when we said about advice for people going forward, when you were talking, I was automatically thinking you get out of this process what you put in.
100%.
Like if you want to aspire to be someone, you've got to understand you need to work to that.
Yeah.
So like you can't expect like I want that, I am going to have the same surgery, and I'm going to achieve that. You got to understand behind the scenes that person's working really freaking hard.
Yeah.
Like people may see the results and the finish line feels and the weights you lift, but they don't see the stretching. They don't see the countless hours of work that went into that. You know what I mean? Like you don't live stream, especially with Instagram, you don't live stream your life to give people the actual representation of, I sit on the floor for half an hour most nights rolling my legs or massaging my legs
100%.
and, stretching and things like that. Like you don't see that side of things. It's a process. It's, I guess we live in an era of instant gratification and we're very much like, I want that now. And I think that's something I've always wanted that. I've been that person of I want it now, and I've learned through this process that it's a process. Like it is literally, if I want something, it's all about atomic habits. So it's all about small habits that get you there eventually.
Yep.
And I think
elevator stairs.
Yeah.
Elevator will get you there quicker, but the stairs will teach you.
Yeah.
Because you're taking one step at a time, and it's more rewarding when you get to the top.
Yeah.
I feel like you're just like a book of these like positive affirmations.
I write them all the time.
Yeah.
He's a big writer.
Yeah.
But it's also he lives it, and he's genuinely him. Like he is, we talked about it last night. You've been this person forever, and that's why people go out of their way for Brett, because he is. If you need Brett's there.
It's funny because you see Instagram and you wonder of these people, like, okay, this is what they've been posting on the Instagram, this is how they come across on Instagram, but when you go to meet them in real life, you're like, are they actually going to be that person? You 100% are the person that you are on Instagram.
Brett also says that too, and I think he brought that up earlier. It's 40 seconds, you can't.
Yeah, true.
And Brett, like, we've seen him. He's a very, like we talked about this earlier. Like I'm a high, a low. Yeah. So like I am really high or really low.
Yeah.
Brett is in the middle. So like he has the center of emotion, and it goes like this. Like up and under. So it's not where I'm the opposite, where I'm like high, low.
Yeah.
So like the center line's here, and I'm woof, like my chart would be like that. Where he goes like, so he's...
All I was trying to say is that you're a nice, genuine person.
Yeah,
come on, like,
I know, but it's also,
take the compliment.
It was like what we talked about last week, because I don't want people to look at Instagram and expect, like, you look at someone on Instagram and you're like, oh, they have everything. I'm so jealous. Like, I want that. I want... Like what we said before, comparison is the killer of accomplishment.
Yep.
I don't want people to feel discouraged by not being what they perceive others to be. You know what I mean? So it's like Brett's a great guy, 100%, no doubt in my mind. But I'm sure he has down days, he had down moments, bad moments, good moments. And I think that is the thing to take away from it. He is someone who chooses to see the good. He's someone who chooses to take the positive approach to life.
Yeah.
It's not all rainbows. I'm sure it's not all rainbows, but he chooses to see the rainbow through the clouds.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I know personally going through it, when I choose to see the clouds, I see the clouds. When I choose to see the rainbows, I see the rainbows.
It's the same as like when you're going to buy a new car and you're like, oh, I think I want that car. You've never seen it before. And then all of a sudden you see that same car everywhere. Yep. If you choose to be happy, then you're going to see happiness everywhere. Right? That's my analogy. Yeah. Very, very profound.
Well, wrapping this up, what would be your final statement? I feel like you'd have a really good one. What would be your final statement to give to people who are watching this either 3 years through their process, 2 years through their process, just starting out the process, hoping to go through this process? What would be your last statement towards them that would be something you would have wanted to hear at that point in that process?
You're doing better than you think you're doing. You're doing better than you think.
Yeah.
You're not bad. You're not failing. You're doing better than you think. You need to understand that. So people are going to cheer you on, and some aren't. But listen to the cheers. Accept them, as you have to learn to accept the cheers. You are doing better than you think.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all I keep. You're doing better than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was meant to do this, but I missed it by this much. But yesterday you were here, now I'm here.
Yeah.
So you still did better than what you expected. So you're improving. Yep. So I only lost 200 grams this week. Yeah, but you lost 200 grams.
Yeah.
Oh, I put back on a kilo. So go take a poo.
Yeah. It's also, like, I think from what you're saying there, and that's great advice, because it's like, listen to the cheers, not only just external, but internal.
Yeah.
So, like, listen to your own, validate yourself. But also, like you were saying before, don't feel like if you fail, you failed. Because even failure comes with lessons that will eventually get you to where you want to go. So, like, yes, you may have gained 200 kilos. Wow. 200 grams. Big week, big meal. But, like, you might have gained 200 grams this week. But did you learn something?
Yeah.
So you've gained knowledge through that gain. It's not failure because you learned something.
Also, keep a diary. Keep a journal. I keep a journal, which is why I stay mellow, because I go, I'm not feeling so super today. What's going on? And I'll read, oh, yeah, I missed a day of training and I haven't done this and I'm not eating correctly. Like, I haven't eaten my proper macros for the week, or, One thing for me is drinking. I don't drink very often. And sometimes when I do, it gives me real bad anxiety because I lose control. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not in full control when I'm so used to being in control of everything. Like, I have my watch set for eating times, and I have everything is like regimented.
Wow,
like a soldier.
okay.
So if I lose control, it's not good for my anxiety or anything like that. So they're my bad days. That's why I keep a journal, and I just look back at it and go, what's been going on? Fix it.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'd love to have you just sit on my shoulder for a day and just, like, walk around and be my little, like, motivational speaker and pep talker.
Yeah, but I think he's not just being the glimmer, like, he's not being that motivational person. He's actually giving the people the tools to understand it. I think is key, because Brett actually genuinely cares for people to be happy. So you want to give them advice that helped you in the past, because you've been to your dark days, you've been to your rock bottoms, but you're passing on the advice of what worked for you. It's not going to work for everyone,
100%.
but it's working for you. And he doesn't want to just be that hype girl.
No, but that's what I mean. You're not just the hype girl. You're the hype girl, but you're also the teacher, because you're explaining why you're hyping them up. You're not just like, woo, you're doing awesome. You're like, woo, you're doing awesome because you did this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Like,
it's very important. Break it down.
I hate it, but I don't like when people go, oh, like you were saying, I'm only doing the 10K run. I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
When was the last time you did 10Ks? I've never done. Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Someone sent me, it was a really beautiful message on BARI Banter a week or two ago, and she'd just come across our podcast, and she was like, just listening to you guys. I've just signed up for my first ever fun run. She's like, it's not anything. It's not the distances what you guys do. It's just 4Ks. And I was like, stop it. No, you've just signed up for your first. She's like, I'm booked in to have surgery in like 3 weeks' time, or it was a little bit further out than that. But I was like, you're literally booking in for a fun run before you started your before you even had surgery. Like that is amazing. And it's funny because I'm the first person to be like, what do you mean you're just doing this? Like you're amazing,
but you do it yourself.
But I do it to myself. Like it's
and personally, do you feel like you do it for a validation reason? Do you like when you say, "Oh, I'm only"? Do you want someone to be like, "No, but you do 10Ks"? Like, do you want someone?
No,
to...
I think I'm genuinely kind of like a little bit disappointed in myself for being like, I know that I can run 21 kilometers. But then the lazy me comes out and goes, oh, I'm just going to do this. It's not the lazy me. It's I think that I would prefer to do 10K because I know that I can do 10K better than what I can do 21K. So at the end of doing the 10K, I'll be like, oh, cool, that was a good time. Whereas if I do the 21, it's unknown. So I don't know how to expect. Like, I don't know how I'm going to go. But
doesn't that excite you?
It does, but it doesn't. Again, the fear of the unknown.
That's like me. I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. I'm going to go.
That's it. What's the worst thing that happen? You fail and you learn lessons?
What's the worst thing that happen? You just fall over and knock yourself out. It's all good.
Hey, you get a good nap. It's good.
Yeah,
yes. Well, that is been an amazing podcast.
Yeah,
I actually like the in-person thing. I think this is like I can touch your leg and like this is a really good TV. You know, very high definition,
very lifelike.
But guys, that is another episode of Barry Banter. Thank you, Brett, for sitting down with us. I think it's pool o'clock.
Pool o'clock.
We'll go enjoy some company and
You've
chat
been
more.
amazing.
I've enjoyed it a lot.
I think we need to make a drinking game out of like a water hydration drinking game out of this. That every time one of you two said, "Oh, we had this chat last night." I reckon you would get your 1.5 litres in just to this.
Yeah, let's do some more of that. But anyway, guys, make sure you give us feedback. Let us know if you want to come on. And that is another episode of Barry Banter. Why, yes, that is another episode of Barry Banter in the books. We hope you got a little something from that one.
Head on over to Facebook or Instagram and check us out, or go to baribanter.com where you can watch past episodes, give us feedback, and let us know who you want to hear from next.
We love you all, and as always, please stay beautiful.